Hi everyone, my name is Pamela and welcome back to Handle It's official YouTube channel. Okay, so the main goal of Handle It is to motivate, inspire, and connect with all of you to encourage you guys to pursue better mental health. Because at the end of the day, you guys, we're all going through something. Really doesn't matter who you are. And I'm here to remind you that no matter what you're going through, you can handle it. Okay, so the series continues with this video, which is titled Negligent Behaviors. So today I'll basically be talking about what causes neglect, the different types of negligent behaviors, consequences, and then finally tips, tricks, and resources on how to deal with, recognize, and heal from negligent behaviors. So let's get started. Causes of negligent behaviors. So based out of all the research I did, the two main causes of negligent behavior that I saw were trauma and mental illness. So trauma basically is any event that happens in someone's life. I guess a simple definition would be like any event or experience that occurs in an individual's life that negatively impacts the way they view themselves or they view other people. And this can result in like trust issues or someone completely forgetting who they are. And it can be anything from growing up in an abusive environment, a toxic environment, or surviving a horrific event. And the thing about trauma is that it's arbitrary and it's specific to that individual. So something that's traumatic for me may not be traumatic for you, and vice versa, just because each person is different. So that's trauma. And then the next one is mental illness. So mental illness, like I always say, is a determinant of your mental health, but it does not define who you are. So mental illness, a lot of the time, it can be hereditary, and it can also be a symptom of a more like a bigger disease that an individual may have. And the most important thing I just want to say about mental illness is that it's not your fault. The same way someone suffering from cancer, it's not your fault. It's not your fault if you have a mental illness as well. So just wanted to slide that in there before I continue. Physical neglect is physical negligent behavior is defined as basically when an individual is lacking the proper food, clothing, and shelter. So as far as self-induced physical neglect is concerned, that's basically when someone's skipping meals, they're not showering, brushing their hair, sleeping properly, and things like that. And then external induced physical neglect is basically like, in a lot of cases, there's in a lot of child abuse cases where like the parent doesn't provide like food for their child, or like doesn't provide like a proper home, and doesn't like remind the child to like do the proper hygiene regimens and things like that. Environmental negligent behavior basically is you're filthy. Okay. I don't know how else to put it, but yeah, you just nasty. Like you leaving food out, you don't dust, you don't vacuum, you don't clean up after yourself. So basically what I saw in that article was just more of like self-induced environmental negligence, where like you're just not cleaning up after yourself. I guess an example of externally induced negligent behavior would be like, you know, if you have a child, it's always like a lot of the stuff is just parent-child. If you have a child or a dependent that's like asthmatic and you just let it get dusty, and you know dust is what, you just evil if you do that, but you know dust is what triggers their asthma, then yeah, so that is environmental negligent behavior. Emotional negligent behavior is just kind of when an individual is deprived of two things: positivity and security. So self-induced emotional negligent behavior just kind of comes in the forms of self-hate and negative self-talk, and which I think is something that a lot of us more often than would like to deal with. And then externally induced emotional neglect is basically in toxic relationships where there's no sense of security or dependency between two people, and then that just leaves the other person feeling like ugh. So I guess the analogy I like to use is basically you're trying to make a plant grow by feeding it poison, and there's like all the nutrients need to go is just MIA, and then it slowly withers and dies. Consequences of negligent behavior are you can have erratic or moody behavior, low self-esteem, social isolation, worsened mental illness or mental health, drug or alcohol abuse, and in even worse cases, some people will even die. Here are a few tips on how to repair the damages and heal from negligent behaviors. So the first and foremost is to educate yourself, because knowledge is power. And lucky for you, you can go ahead and check that off your to-do list because you made it through to the end of this video. So you're welcome. So next, we're going to just focus on friends and people that you may or may not know. So I cannot stress this enough to check on people. Check on people. If you have to set reminders on your phone to say, hey, today I checked on bestie number 2, then you got to make that reminder to check on bestie number 2. Check on people and compliment them, because you never know what a compliment can do for someone. I always hear these stories of how people are like, oh, like, you know, I almost like did something negative, but then you like smiled at me, or you gave me this compliment, or you took the time to listen to me, and I felt like I was something. So the next tip is you, but more importantly, the choices that you make. If it's within your power to make that choice to change that negligent behavior, to change that negative self-talk, do it. Do it now. So obviously life is a series of choices that we make, and you have that power to choose who you want to be and how you want to live. And I'm here to encourage you that even though we basically talked about a lot of negative stuff today, you have the power to choose to change those behaviors. In public health, we always say that intention is 9/10 of the law. So basically all that means is that if you don't want to do something, you're not going to do it. If you do want to do something, then you're going to get it done. But the most important thing is that you have to make that decision, because that choice is yours. Don't isolate yourself. We as humans crave relationship. We crave community. And I am very guilty of this one. That's like the first thing I do is whenever like I start letting all the negativity and like the self-doubt and like I start questioning everything, that's the first thing I do, is isolate myself. And like it's in those quiet moments that all that stuff kind of weighs down on us. So I'm going to encourage all of you guys to not isolate yourself, and to, even if it's with one other person, a struggle buddy if you will, is to make that extra effort to surround yourself with people that you care about. So the next tip on how we can repair and heal from these negligent behaviors is to seek help. I know a lot of people don't like asking for help. Myself included. But just because you seek help from someone does not make you weak. I've had to learn that I'm only so many years old. There's no physical plausible way for me to know everything and anything there is to know about life. There's always going to be someone else who's more knowledgeable about certain topics or certain aspects of life that I just don't have access to. So it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to ask questions on, oh, how did you deal with this situation, or this is what I'm going through, like how would you like suggest that I get through this? So ask for help, you guys. Again, I do have phone numbers and resources down in the description box below, if you guys want to go ahead of those resources to get help and dealing with these negligent behaviors. So my last and final tip for this video is self-care. So for me personally, self-care is more than just brushing your teeth and combing your hair and throwing on a stick of deodorant. It's taking that extra step, taking that extra step to show yourself some love, right? And it can be anything. For me personally, it's getting my nails done. Okay. It's getting my hair done, it's getting a facial, it's taking myself on a date and to watch a movie or have lunch by myself. That's a little, see, that one was very uncomfortable, not gonna lie. But baby steps. It's just taking extra time out of my week to show myself that I appreciate myself. And to be honest with you guys, it took me a really long time to get to this point, because there was a point where I just didn't think I deserved it. I don't know how to articulate it. I didn't understand the difference between being selfish and practicing self-care. Like, I just was like, oh, I don't have time to do that. That's selfish, and I'm not trying to be selfish. I don't know if that makes sense, but and then I just didn't think I deserved it. And the thing is, like, no one said, oh, you don't deserve to get your nails done, sit down. Like, no one ever said that. That's just how I felt, and I can't really, like, articulate right now why I felt that way, but I kind of had to force myself to say, like, you know what, I'm going to take some time just to do me and see how that goes. And, like, it gave me more energy to get through my week. Actually, like, low-key, like, I look forward to the end of the week so I can just get my nails done and watch some Netflix and buy myself a cookie from HEB. Like, like, that's just what I do. So I'm here to encourage you guys to do the same. Show yourself some love. And if somebody has the audacity to say that you don't deserve it, well, boo, bye. Their opinions are irrelevant, okay? Because you deserve all the goodness and care in the world. So take it. It's yours. Regardless of your situation, whether it's self-induced neglect or externally induced neglect, I'm not going to be insensitive and say it's okay, when in your case it may not be okay. But I am here to encourage you to take that first step. If it is within your power to make that choice of healing from those negligent behaviors, because it's never ever too late to heal. And I also want to encourage you and remind you that whatever your situation is, no matter how hard it may be, you as you are in this moment, you're all you have to get through it. So that has to be enough. And I just want to remind you that you are so much stronger than you think, and you are strong enough to handle it. So that's basically it for me today. Thank you guys so much for watching and sitting here with me, listening to me talk. I truly appreciate it. If you like what you saw here today, so go ahead and like, comment down in the comment section below, and subscribe for more content. But most importantly, share the message. Pass the mic. So if you felt motivated and inspired by this message today, it's your job to connect. So remind someone that you know, whether a friend, a stranger, or a foe, that sometimes it's okay to not be okay. And if it's not okay, well, it will be. So have a wonderful day. And I just wanted to remind you that whatever negligent behavior that you have experienced, whether external or self-induced, your comeback is always going to be stronger than your setback. Always. And don't give up. Keep fighting. You can do this. Bye, guys.